So did Stephen Jones really prove me wrong this season with the moves that the Dallas Cowboys made? We're going to revisit all the moves the Cowboys made in the 2022 offseason and whether or not they were good moves, bad moves, and ultimately, was I wrong? Let's dive into it. Now look, I'm ready to eat some crow and also pat myself on the back for some of these moves and my opinions on them. But before we get started, if you can like the video, that'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you're new and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more Cowboys content as it comes out. And we're going to go through, leave some letter grades for a lot of the moves that were made. We're going to talk about the major moves in which we let go of guys, we brought guys in, and we brought guys back. So if you want to play along, go in the comments section, provide your letter grades or talk about how you felt about some of the moves the Cowboys made. Maybe I don't mention it. Bring up some other ones. So with that being said, let's start off with the departures. The biggest one, Amari Cooper to Cleveland. Listen, I understand that this move still stings many Cowboys fans, including myself. I still think it was one of the dumbest trades the Dallas Cowboys could have made in this decade, including back into 2010. And it has to deal with the fact of what the Cowboys have at this juncture. The Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb, and then it's whoever has emerged as number two. Either it's Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, or, now it's T.Y. Hilton. They don't have a consistent number two threat. And I think that even with CeeDee Lamb's emergence and him getting his targets, I think having a guy in Amari Cooper allowing for Michael Gallup to come back into his own as he's drudged along and tried to find his form again. It's been a very, very, very hit or miss situation for the Cowboys, but they have managed to get 12 wins. Offensively, they are still one of the better offenses in the league as long as Dak Prescott is under center, but that doesn't mean that this move goes without any form of criticism or anything like that. To only get a 5 and a 6 was pretty embarrassing considering the 5 was Matt Waletzko, who hasn't shown you anything, and then you had the 6 swap. So all that being said, I give this move still a low grade of a D minus. I think that this is still a really bad move, and until Michael Gallup comes back into his own form long term, we will see how this move has aged. Moving on to the next big move, Randy Gregory to the Denver Broncos. We all know the fiasco that took place with Randy Gregory. The Cowboys agreed to terms, 5 years, 70-odd million, and then everything fell through. Now, the biggest thing that comes with this particular move is that the Dallas Cowboys arguably dodged a bullet, and I was okay with bringing Randy back because I still felt like you needed something there. But with Randy's recent appearance in Denver, he hasn't been that great. I mean, when you have 6 games played, 3 starts, and 2 sacks, I mean, come on, man. Let's look at it this way. I still believe the Dallas Cowboys were going to give this guy all this money, and for them to act like, oh, well, we didn't need him, and we weren't going to give him the... Nah, that's bullshit. You know you were going to give him the money. We know what Steven did. He slid in some contract work and nonsense to make it so that the deal didn't happen. Now, of course, we'll get into the replacements, but I think that getting Randy Gregory out of here, and more specifically because of the fact that you have other guys that have been better statistically and have gotten you more impact. Well, Randy was good when he was here. I'm not going to lie and say that he wasn't, but I think that this move ends up coming up as a B+. You let the guy go. You brought back some guys with the money, even though you should have gotten some other guys. That's just my personal opinion, like a Von Miller. And you can't predict injury. So I think letting him go was the right move. And with that, I give you a B+ on there. Good job, Stephen Jones, for purposely sabotaging the contract, getting some cap space, and using it elsewhere. Now we got a double whammy here, primarily because both these guys went to the same team. Let's start off with part 1 of this. Cedric Wilson. Now, Cedric Wilson, it wasn't really a bad thing that the Cowboys let him go. It's just one of those situations where you would have liked him to be around for what's going on here. You know, hey, Gallup is trying to get back into form, and rather than try to rush him in and you need someone else to kind of step up, you could have had Wilson there in the, in the wing to be your wide receiver 3 or 2 in some of these instances, which he definitely would have been when Michael Gallup was out. So, again, not pissed that the Cowboys let him go. Again, that's okay. But I think because of how things panned out with some of their other guys, it kind of stings a little bit. Not as much as Amari leaving, but I'm going to say I'm going to give it a C+, okay? You let him go, understandably for money reasons, but at the same time, you could have used him at this juncture. Next, we got Connor Williams. Now, Connor Williams, I'm going to just straight up say the Dallas Cowboys, after seeing the improvement in these young guys, they didn't need Connor Williams anymore. I think I'm going to give the Cowboys a B+ for this particular move because of the fact that they had a improvement with Tyler Biadasz. Connor McGovern has improved. They've done Tyler Smith at the left guard spot, and he's been solid. So I definitely think that the Cowboys moving on from Connor Williams was a damn good decision, given the fact that penalties haven't really been a big deal at left guard as much was last season, even though most of it wasn't his fault. It was more so because Tyler Biadasz was still kind of coming to his own. Now, moving on, we have the final big one we needed to talk about, and that is La'el Collins. The Dallas Cowboys just straight up released La'el, opening up a ton of cap space, and I'm actually going to give this, and in my opinion, this was the best move the Cowboys made, and I'm going to give it an A+. Why do I say that? Well, let's look at it this way. We had a replacement in Terrence Steele, and guess what? Until he was getting hurt, he was having a Pro Bowl caliber season. The dude was really damn good. And when you look at what La'el has been doing, I mean, the dude's given up 5 sacks this season. I think he's hurt. And with that, 8 penalties. And, I mean, look, he hasn't been great for Cincinnati. He's just been a guy. And I think that for what Cincinnati was hoping they were getting, I mean, come on, man. I really wish the Cowboys were able to get something for him. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys made a fantastic move by letting La'el Collins go, letting Terrence Steele shine and come into his own. And I think the Cowboys now have a proper right tackle replacement for the long term as long as he's okay. And you also got Tyron Smith out there, which, by the way, he's been doing very damn good at right tackle as well. So the Cowboys made a really damn good decision with that. So with that being said, let's move on to the next part, the re-signings. Now, we're going to just go over a bunch of these have no bearing. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. They're just one-year deals, and I'm not going to be super, super, super big on them. I'm going to just talk about more of the long-term ones. So let's start off with Michael Gallup. Now, with Michael Gallup, I understand that plenty of us are in a bit of a flux with him because it's his first year back from the injury, so I'm not expecting a whole lot. And he's made impactful plays here and there, but sometimes he's gone MIA, sometimes he's done pretty good. But I think for Gallup, he needs to step it up, and we'll probably see that going in the next season. But in terms of bringing Gallup back, this very much hinges on how year 2 goes of his deal. I'm going to give right now them bringing back Michael Gallup a solid C+, primarily because we need to see how long-term he looks outside of the injury. If we go into next season and he's the same, we got some problems. So we got to definitely keep that in mind. So again, I'm going to give Michael Gallup a C+ for right now because it's hard to really grade him at this point in time. Next, Dorrance Armstrong. I'm giving this thing an A+, however you want to grade it. The dude has been awesome for Dallas this season for the value you got. 8 sacks on the year, and he's been a productive player for the Cowboys. I mean, look, he's basically come in and said, Randy Gregory who? And I'm shocked at that. I did not think Dorrance Armstrong had that in him, and I'm glad he's proven me wrong. Congratulations to Dorrance Armstrong on doing his thing. And yeah, I think the Cowboys made the right move in bringing him back. Now, moving on to a couple of the other signings as well. You have Jaron Kearse. You have Malik Hooker and Brian Anger. So for all of these particular moves, in the safety room, that is an A. You bring back these guys, and while I would have loved to pay Kearse a little bit more over more time because of how much he means to the team, getting these guys back on multi-year deals was pretty damn impactful, and they've been solid for your defense. Have they been the best? Absolutely not. But to have these guys back in the locker room was key. And this was a great job by the Cowboys on that regard. So for those two, I'm going to give you a A there for getting that safety room back together. Next, Brian Anger. Well, Brian Anger has not been the all-pro that we would expect. He has had a decent season thus far. I'm going to say giving that a B. And then when it comes to the overall rest of the signings and stuff like that, they were all one-year deals, so I'm not really putting that much thought into that. So again, I think that the Dallas Cowboys really did a good job at what they had on the field and what they had out there in options for re-signings, bringing back guys that were impactful. Now, let's get into the guys they decided to bring in that were free agents and all that other stuff. So to start things off, you had, in my opinion, the biggest signing was Brett Maher. I was pissed when the Cowboys thought they were going to go through this whole situation of bringing Brett Maher back, and we all know what we had at Brett Maher before, but he has definitely shut me the hell up. That's for one. A fucking plus signing. The Dallas Cowboys got Money Maher in here. He has been a godsend for the Cowboys. I'm pissed he wasn't a Pro Bowler, and I cannot believe that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. So with that, I mean, he's the league's leading scorer? That's fucking unbelievable. Props to Brett Maher for coming in, redeeming himself, and I don't know what else to say, guys. I mean, Brett Maher, what a goddamn comeback story, and that make him comeback player of the year. No, I'm just kidding. Another couple of signings that I wanted to go over. James Washington, F. He's gone. He was released. Complete garbage. I don't want to hear it. Next, Dante Fowler. I think Dante Fowler was a solid C-plus signing. You get a guy in here to be a solid rotational piece. I don't have a complaint with that. And then you also look at Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr, a lot of us were hyped bringing him in from Minnesota. He's been a D. He hasn't really been great, especially of late. And that's really been costing the Cowboys in some of these regards. Now, an honorable mention I didn't mention in the re-signings was Leighton Vander Esch. He's been key for the Cowboys, especially in the late stretch, and I hope to God that he gets some praises, and maybe he comes back on a cheap deal. We'll see. I'm going to say giving him a B+, because of how we were valuing him and what he's done for that value. Now, finally, the overall look of how I felt about some of these in-season signings. You brought in Jason Peters, which was an A in my opinion, and T.Y. Hilton, an A. He was the reason you won a game, which is unbelievable to say the least, and you can give an A for Jason Peters because he's also the reason you went on to win a game. So I think that is really important as we take a look through all of this, and with that, this was a pretty damn decent offseason. Now, I will say that the Dallas Cowboys have some work to do because they have guys upcoming, and we'll talk about that as the season finishes up, but Stephen Jones shut me up this year, and especially with how this season has gone. But have these moves really done a whole lot to win us something in the postseason? I think that's something we'll find out shortly. With that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. By all means, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.